Ras Ivai Tafari, advocate of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. The time is now. The time is right for the lion to tell its own story. It is the time for the lion to roar. Rastafari.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The King of Kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Yeah. Hear them high, hear the Black King on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go to tribulation, I and I strive, see sufferation, I and I still rise. That's why we tell them, in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come if you tell them, in a Toronto, straight at it. Well, Haile Selassie I is the Almighty. And this is the Charles March Kwasi. Yeah, and this is the legendary king of these, from foreign and overseas. Listen. Well, even when a sound boy fall, cause him heart full up with grudge. At the sound clash we stand tall. We will kill a sound boy with gloves. And even when the people start ball, when them see them favorite sound get judged. When the dance hall beat down them wall, them a say a king of these them love. I think I found the sound of a lifetime. Them killing whether day or the night time. The Almighty I made them light shine, and unto I them sound was a lifeline.
Yes, I have a theory I want to put forward to the IDEF, because I theorize that the thunder was so terrible, and because His Majesty first cries were drowned by the thunder, that is what helped to inspire the name Tafari or Tafari, the one to be feared or to be respected.
Exactly.
Great trembling must have taken hold after that drought, and they hear the thunder roar, you know, like 10,000, and the sky is open, you know, the darkness, you know, the clouds, and you know, because these are very God-fearing people, you know, the Ethiopia. Exactly. And these would have been seen as signs and portents of great power, you know. So, so it's very important as we reflect to just know that this is not a fantasy that we're talking about. We're talking about living history. Because remember, after that birth, His Majesty could have come and just do nothing, you know. That is just the opening of a story that would impact the world. So, Mama Walete, I just want to open the floor again to the eye, you know, your thoughts.
Just before that, the Jasmine Kwasi.
Yes, go forward.
So this child haven't conquered death.
Yes.
Because we have to look at this child as a conqueror, as a babe, as an infant.
From his first breath.
Yes. And was raised to life. It's not that life came and then he conquered. He conquered death. He's the only child that came from that womb and survived. So he's a conqueror of death as a babe. So can you imagine when he's the conquering lion?
The tribe of Judah. Yes,
so Lidj Tafari conquered death and was raised to life July 23rd, 1892.
That's one of the titles I give him. He survived out the womb of Yeshimebet, you know? Because that was no easy task.
No.
To survive, you know? 8 children, birth, 8 lives claimed, and then she'd perish on the 9th, on the 10th child, as we say. So that was no easy task, as you say. Conquering lion. 40 days after, given the name of the might and the power of the Trinity, his baptismal name. That he likely only he knew, because most of the people who were there at his childbirth perished. You know, a lot of his close teachers, a lot of the, Abba Samuel, Dr. Vitalian, a lot of the people who were present in his early days did not make it, through the reign. So by the time his revealed his name of Haile Selassie at the coronation, it very well could have been a name that he alone there knew from that time, because this is not a time when
according to Revelation.
Haile.
According to Revelation, said no man knew his name but himself, and himself will reveal it. And I think it was the first time a baptismal name was used as a crown name.
Okay.
Because they say the baptismal name is your name that is written in the book of life. But His Majesty had it that his baptismal name became his throne name. Hence, he was not only a baptismal name, but he manifested the traits of the might and power of the Holy Trinity in the flesh.
Yes, and I think that's very important for young Rasses. I'll never forget, as a young Ras at the Nyabingi House in Washington, D.C., an elder, looked at her and said, you never forget the mystical side of this tradition, regardless of all the education and different things you pursue, always remember the mystic, tradition. And when we pair the history with the manifestation, we see that great mystic, because His Majesty did not have to be born on the first day of Leo, which is the lion. That did not have to coincide. It could have been within the house or the second or the third day, but all of these things line up, as you say. 1399 also marks the birth of Zariakob, which is another great Ethiopian king.
Yes.
This alignment of the stars is actually documented in the almanac.
Yes,
so you can go and look and see that, indeed these things did occur. So all of that mystic in terms of the planetary alignment, being born on the 23rd of July, which is the first day of Leo the lion. No more lamb to the slaughter, but a lion that conquered. The coming at the end of the drought, even one of those things would have been enough to make this a fantastic story. But we see that this alignment of all of these factors, that leads us to the birth of a baby boy. And I write in my book that no one could have even known, even though that he was that special, that he would change the earth forever. Because when we talk about the end of his throne, there would be no ending. The Lion of Judah flag now flies in every country on the planet Earth. We see it at festivals. We see people have it in their homes. Every nation, creed. So even though, in Ethiopia, there's no longer, it's no longer a political flag. It becomes a heretical. Now, it's flown, and His Majesty said that the sacrifice of Yeshua, the Almighty, now dwell within the heart of I and I. You know what I mean? So this now shows us that Haile Selassie now dwell within the hearts, and we become that manifestation to do His work. We are called by His name, Rastafari, and we are rising, and it's an honor. Mama Walete, please, jump in here, because I'm long-winded, so you just have it.
Yes, I know the glory of Kadamawi Haile Selassie, coming into the trod, and learning of His Majesty's glory, and really, cultivating and loving a relationship with I Father, and getting a full understanding of the glory of Kadamawi, of the person of His Majesty and who He is. And I see every time without fail that there is no end, indeed, no end to His reign, no seal up, not in this universe or any universe. It is an eternal reign, forever, all nations will bow and crown him King of Kings and hail him Kadamawi Haile Selassie I. So, you know, when I have these reasonings, it is very important for I to declare the divinity of His Majesty and to really help the youths to understand how I hail a living Jah, because it's a source of confusion for a lot of ones. They don't understand. You know, Ras Ivi gave a very clear story there a moment ago, really documenting the eye blocked about all of the stars aligned and sealing with this glory at the birth of His Majesty. And it's important that Rastafari youth today really understand the why and the how, you know, because this is not what the rest of the world says. You know, they say that, you know, it's blasphemous, or, you know, for I to hail and give glory, you know, to His Majesty. But I know that His Majesty reigns and stands triumphant. And I know that I are on the righteous path. And on, you know, in this is the heights of Iris, is to be able to hail a living Jah. And I saw that the ancient Nubians and the Cushites deified man and deified woman. And I read the scriptures, and I read the history, and I see the prophecy that speaks of this, and I can't turn a blind eye, and I have to acknowledge the glory and the divinity of His Imperial Majesty. And I have to make sure that I are spreading that glory, so that there is indeed no end to the glory and to this truth, you know. And I stand in the truth, and I give thanks and praises, you know, for Rastafari, because it has kept all of I, even those that don't know that they're being kept by this glory. They are indeed being kept, because His Majesty is merciful and non-partial, you know, and all of His children are benefactors of His glory, you know, so we give thanks.
Well, for unto us a son was born and a child was given, and the government shall be upon His shoulders, and His name shall be called the Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Them call Him Lidj Tafari. When He was born, rain fall from the sky. Them call Him Lidj Tafari. When He was grown, in airplanes He fly. They call Him Lidj Tafari. The lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call Him Lidj Tafari. Read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England or Cote d'Ivoire, no matter if you're brown or black like Qatar. Haile Selassie say fi end all tribal war. A time fi gather Mount Zion, fi drive solar car from the car straight to Zanzibar. Who we are, the sons of Lidj Tafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Lidj Tafari. When he was grown, in airplanes he fly. Then Lidj Tafari. The lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Then Lidj Tafari. Read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Royal governor from the age of 13 years. Leave the palace, fi go back in a school with him peers. He's the head without fear, he's one to be revered. When them call his name, then the heathen scare. Plus the priest concerned, and him teachers concerned. Cause all this little youth want fi do is just learn. But he wait his turn, till him turn the chess match. The people rejoice when him crown as the Rasta call him Lidj Tafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Then Lidj Tafari. When he was grown, in airplanes he fly. Then Lidj This Tafari, lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. This Tafari, read your Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Well, Ras Makonnen, call a meeting with all him general them. Say him funeral a come, and him have something fi tell them. Him say, we fight together since the days of Adawa. Him say, protect my son and help him unite Africa. Well, him generals, them start cry when them hear this sound. Them say your wishes are come and then bow down to the ground. When him funeral they come, it shock the whole town. If you see this little youth, him have armies around they call him